Hey everybody, it's Daniel. Welcome back to my sofa in beautiful Barcelona. Today we're going to talk about some very simple basic things in Spanish that you need to know before you can really start saying anything. We're going to talk about the personal pronouns and the most basic conjugation of the most basic type of verb. We're just going to conjugate the verb hablar in present simple. Hablar is a regular AR verb. We'll talk a little bit about what that means also. So, let's buckle up for this wild Spanish ride. Here we go. First off, thank you to everybody who commented on my previous video about the verb gustar. I was talking about me gusta, me gustas, things like that. Somebody commented that I didn't really explain the hard stuff. I just explained the easy stuff. And they're absolutely right. When I make one of these videos, I usually realize that I want to explain something sort of intermediate level, but there's so much basic stuff that I would need to get through first in order to do anything at all. So today we're going to do some of the basic stuff, let's say, so that we can be more prepared for the intermediate. First off, what is a verb conjugation? We don't do a ton of this in English, so when I learned it back in high school, probably, I guess ninth grade, when I learned this back in ninth grade, I had no idea what we were even getting into. But in Spanish, if I'm saying I speak, you speak, he speaks, she speaks, we speak, they speak, in English we really only have two forms. I speak, you speak, we speak, they speak, and then he speaks, she speaks, it speaks. Well, it doesn't speak generally until we get some talking AI. But those are the two conjugations, with the S on the end and without the S on the end. In present, this is. In Spanish, they have a whole longer list of conjugations, which mean basically that if I use I need to end the verb with a certain ending. If I use you, I need to end the verb with a different ending. If I use they, it's a completely different ending. So that's something we just have to deal with in Spanish. Back in the day, we had this book. It was called 501 Spanish Verbs, and you would just go to the park and you would pull out your book of 501 Spanish verbs and you would try to memorize some conjugations. Each verb has a full page of conjugations. We're just going to do a very simple present simple thing today, but there's, 24 other verb tenses or whatever. And you just have to deal with it. Eventually it gets easier because you can see the patterns. But the first thing I learned was just the endings. So the verb hablar is to speak, like you're speaking a language or you're speaking to someone. But today we're just going to talk about speaking a language. Hablar is an AR verb, meaning it ends in AR. There are verbs that end with ER, and there are verbs that end with IR. There are also regular and irregular verbs. Hablar is regular, meaning nothing about it changes. We just take off the AR and we add something else. There's no other complications to it. Okay, that's a lot of preamble before we even get to actual Spanish. Yo hablo inglés y español. That's a Spanish sentence. Yo hablo inglés y español. That is, I speak English and Spanish. Yo is the personal pronoun. It's I, right? I speak English and Spanish. Hablo is the verb conjugated. The o is the ending there, the suffix for first person in present. Yo hablo inglés y español. Tú hablas español y chino. You speak Spanish and Chinese. It would be more correct to call it Chino Mandarin or something similar, one of the varieties of Chinese. But tú hablas español y chino. So, tú is you, informal you. We'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. Tú hablas español y chino. In this case, the ending is as. So, for first person, we have o. For second person, we have as. Tú hablas español y chino. Third person, él habla alemán. For third person singular, we have a is the suffix. Él habla alemán. Él, in this case, has an accent over it. Él, when you're using it for he, a person, has an accent over it. Él habla alemán. There's some simple rules about accents in Spanish. Mostly I'm just putting the accents on the words and, just remember if you can. Alemán also has an accent. Inglés has an accent. Anyway, él habla alemán. That is he speaks German. If we're talking about a female, we have ella. Ella has no accent. Ella habla italiano. She speaks Italian. All of the languages are masculine, grammatically masculine, I guess, probably because el idioma is masculine. El idioma italiano is also masculine. So, ella habla italiano. Usted habla francés. You, formal you, speaks French. This is another one of those basic things that I have to explain before I explain anything else. But tú is informal you. You could use it with your friends, with people who are your social equals and approximately your age. Usted is formal you. You would use it with people who you feel a deep respect for, people who are much older, complete strangers. When you want to show distance, if you're, having some sort of confrontation with somebody, you don't want to use tú, maybe. You would maybe use usted. You're being politely confrontational. I don't know. It's kind of complicated to explain because we don't do this in English at all. But yeah. I should say that here in Spain, usted is not very common. In other countries where they speak Spanish, like in Colombia, I think usted is very normal to use with almost everybody. But here in Spain, you use tú with almost everybody. I've only really used usted with, elderly landlords and things like that. It's not super common. But anyway, usted habla francés. So we have third person singular, él habla, ella habla, usted habla. The usted is the same as the third person singular. It's just more distance. It's like saying he, but you're saying you in a formal way. Nosotros hablamos ruso. We speak Russian. Nosotros hablamos ruso. So, nosotros is we. I know it's a little bit silly to have an 8-letter, 3-syllable word for we, but that's the way it is. Don't be tempted to abbreviate it to nos, because nos is a different thing. Nos is the reflexive pronoun. Nosotros is we. Nosotros hablamos ruso. We speak Russian. Hablamos, then, is amos is the suffix. We'll list all of the suffixes towards the end here. We have vosotros habláis portugués. You, in plural, informally plural, you, informal plural, speak Portuguese. Vosotros habláis portugués. In English, we just say you for you, one person, and you for a group of people. In Spanish, they have more words. So, vosotros habláis portugués. Portugués has an accent on it. Vosotros habláis portugués. Once again, don't abbreviate to vos. Vos is a totally different thing. It's a couple different things. We'll talk about it another time. So, vosotros habláis portugués. This is ais is the suffix here for this conjugation. Last conjugation then, ellos hablan rumano. They speak Romanian. There's a lot of Romanians here in Spain, so we talk about it more than I would back in the US. Ellos hablan rumano. An is the suffix, and ellos is a group of males or a mixed group. Usually, if you have a mixed group of people, you just say ellos, and that's it. Ooh, I forgot one. We'll talk about that in a moment also. Ellas hablan griego. If we're talking about a group of women, ellas hablan griego. They, the group of women, speak Greek. Ellas hablan griego. And finally, ustedes. Ustedes, formal group of people, formal group of you. Ustedes hablan sueco. Maybe this is a question. Ustedes hablan sueco? Yeah, a little bit of intonation and the question mark at the beginning and the end. If we're writing it, ustedes hablan sueco? Do you speak Swedish? You, a formal group of people who I respect or feel like I should be distant from. So the final suffix there is an. Okay, so getting to this point, I realized that I have forgotten a couple of pronouns. We also have nosotras and vosotras. Nosotras is we, a group of women. I never have to use that one because I'm never in a group which is exclusively made up of women. But yeah, nosotras is that. Nosotras hablamos noruego. We speak Norwegian, maybe. Just another language there. Nosotras, a group of women, hablamos noruego. Then we also have vosotras. Vosotras for a group of women, but like you, a group of women. Vosotras habláis Esperanto? I don't know. I've only met one person in my life who speaks Esperanto, but it's one of those artificial languages from way back in the day. Vosotras, a group of women, habláis Esperanto. So that's for a group of women. You can be a tiny bit flexible on this. I don't know. My gym, for example, is mostly mixed, but occasionally there'll be like 5 girls and me training, and the trainer will say, "Venga, chicas, vosotras, no sé qué," and then she'll kind of apologize because I'm there also, but whatever. So yeah, all of those pronouns, in other words, are things you're going to need to know. So the pronouns then are yo, I, tú, you, informal, él, he, ella, she, usted, you, but formal. Nosotros, we, nosotras, we, but we're all women. Vosotros, you, informally, group of people, you, informally. Vosotras, group of people informally who are also women. You can see there's a lot of context here that you have to just understand because it's not easy to translate without some long explanation. Then we have ellos, they, a group of men, ellos, or a mixed group of people, different genders. Ellos. We have ellas, who are them, a group of, or they, a group of women. And finally, we have ustedes, who are a group of you, sort of people who we have respect for or have a formal, distant relationship with. Ustedes. This is taking like 20 minutes, which is why I haven't done this up till now. Anyway, all of this to say that the conjugations, I just learned them in 9th grade as, I don't know, I kind of would rap it to myself to remember. It's o as a amos ais an. O as a amos ais an. O as a amos ais an. These are the conjugations, the suffixes in present simple for AR verbs. The full verb, then you take off the AR, you put on the suffix, and you have yo hablo, tú hablas, él habla, ella habla, usted habla, nosotros hablamos, nosotras hablamos, vosotros habláis, ellos hablan, ellas hablan, ustedes hablan. All of that is what you need to memorize here, and that's just one verb. I'm sorry, there's no way around this. That's just the way it is. So remember, o, as, a, amos, ais, an. You can later use that in a lot of other verbs to make it simpler, but yeah, that's the conjugation there. O, as, a, amos, ais, an. The verb gustar, which we talked about last time, is the same sort of AR regular verb, but it's complicated because we need the pronoun also, so let's talk about that in a future video. So that took longer than I expected. One final note. I know. This is a little bit annoying, but now that I've taught you all of these, yo, tú, él, ella, usted, a lot of times when we're just talking, we understand who the person is, so we don't use the pronoun. If I say hablo alemán, or if I say no hablo alemán, it's hablo. It's clear from the hablo that I am talking about myself. So we don't use the yo. Hablo inglés y español. If I'm asking you, hablas italiano? Do you speak Italian? Hablas italiano? El as gives you all the information you need. I know from the as that you are speaking to me, or you know from the as that I am speaking to you. So, hablas italiano? If I were asking, I don't know, about a group of people, hablan rumano? Do they speak Romanian? Hablan rumano? If I was talking about us, I would say, hablamos inglés en casa. We speak English at home. Hablamos inglés en casa. All of this to say that, the conjugated verb gives you enough information most of the time. And so we tend to leave off the pronoun in this type of simple sentences. There's lots of times when you do need the pronoun, but if it's understood who you're talking about, you don't absolutely need the pronoun. En fin, I hope you enjoyed that. This was longer than I was expecting, and I was expecting it to be sort of long already, but please subscribe to the channel, give me a like. I have a blog where I talk about life in Spain and Europe and whatever else I'm thinking about that week. It's expatmadrid.com. You can donate, expatmadrid.com/donate. That takes you to a different page, but you can donate some money to the cause here. I take time to do this for free. I enjoy it, but money also helps to motivate me to work harder. Tends to do that with a lot of people. I hope you enjoy whatever it is you're doing today, wherever it is you're doing it. Here in Barcelona, it's about 30 degrees Celsius, sort of a hot day. I'm going to go to the gym and get real sweaty right now. So, enjoy, and I'll talk to you soon. Hasta la próxima. Bye.